Hello traders, welcome once again to another weekly market outlook. You know what time it is. It is the Sunday analysis. We're going to have a look through the short list of opportunities that we've identified for this week in the markets. This is what we've got on our outlook. These are the charts for this week that I've singled out. And we are going to start with the dollar as always. But before that, usual line of business is to begin with the economic calendar. So let's see what we've got for this week in the news. Right then, here's the calendar page. If you go on the site here on the top, you'll see the economic calendar. Let's familiarize ourselves with this week. Thank you very much for joining me, by the way. My name is Dima, and if you haven't been with me before, then welcome. And if you're back, then welcome back. Let's see what we've got this week. So the 2 bars are the medium news, 3 bars are the high impact news. And what we've got this week is we're going to start with the Japanese yen money supply. Got a medium impact news there. Monday, September the 11th. On the same day, medium from the dollar, medium news on the bill auctions here. And let's see if there's anything major to look for. Tuesday the 12th, we have claimant count on the pound from the UK. So that's the data there, and a few other medium ones, an unemployment rate here. So this will be one to watch for on the pound. And later in the day, nothing of real significance here. What do we see here? Some medium news on the note auctions here, but nothing of significance. And Wednesday the 13th, we have a little bit of medium impact news on the yen again. GDP figures on the pound again. Anything else significant there? Yes, in the afternoon New York session we have core CPI numbers, so that will be one to watch for. Lately the CPI numbers have been a volatility inducer in the market on the dollar, so we'll be watching out for that. What else do we have? Nothing of note here and nothing big here. So moving on to the next day, 14th, we have a bit of yen news here. Well, but again, that's medium news. We do have unemployment rate from Australia. And what else? Yeah, initial jobless claims on the dollar. So once again, Thursday, middle of the week, typically when news kicks in, we have something interesting happening. PPI numbers, retail sales as well. What else have we got here? Nothing really major to note down. And then Friday, September 15th to end the week. What do we have? Some medium news on the dollar. Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of news on the dollar there to end the week. So we've got pound, we have got dollar news, we have got Aussie news to watch out for, and a little bit of yen, although it's not of major significance. So that's the week ahead on the economic calendar. I would make a note of those major ones for yourself for the week, so you know what you're looking at and what days. Once again, it seems like we have middle of the week Wednesday and also Thursday as the days of significance where a little bit of more high impact news is present. Okay, that's that. Make a note of that. Pause the video if you haven't, if you need a little bit of time. And if you have already done that, then okay, let's continue. Go into the charts and see what the technical analysis is telling us. Right then, let's begin. As always, going to start with the dollar. We've got our pairs for this week. So the red ones are the short bias, the green ones are the long, the buy bias, and I'm going to go through each of them one by one, as always. So dollar last week, we were looking at bullishness. We do have that bullishness continuing. Here are the levels we watched for, and we have hit both of them. So let's get rid of those. And we were saying that the probability that is that if we clear these levels, we're going to go to the next one up here, which is what we've done. So let's just have a good look. We have a clearly bullish week last week. Now we are heading into the middle of September, carrying on this monthly picture. Here's that month. It looks like we're heading into this high here. So there we are, clearly very bullish, very bullish on the dollar. Easy to see. Let's go on the daily. We can see the swing was created here, and now we are heading higher. So what do we see next? Well, with this target in mind, I'm going to anticipate more bullishness and look to enter on the next opportunity. So there's a clear bullish bias here. That is what we're looking at. So that's the bullish bias on the dollar. So we're bearing that in mind and continuing with that on the currencies. Right, euro. Here's the bearish, the opposite of the dollar, the bearishness that we were looking at. We have clear bearish candle. It's a big sell-off. This target was hit, and now we are reaching into this one and this one. These are the next ones to look for. Quick look on the daily. Here we are. The days have been cleared one after the other. We don't need these anymore. We have now gone below, looking on the 4 hour, clear these levels. And as you can see, what we've had here is a bit of a ranging movement. This level has been held. We've created wicks through it. This was the invalidation point and now remains the invalidation point because it has been held. In fact, this wick will now be the reference point invalidation, and just going to continue on from last week, seeing as we have the same idea, the same continuation. So this is what we're looking for. This would be an interesting price, and the next levels will be here already marked out based on the higher time frame. So in terms of the next idea after the one we're currently at is this level. Once we clear this level, then break, pull back to a better price, a more expensive price, then continuing lower wherever we're going would be the interest for the rest of the week. As long as we don't clear this. If we do, market goes above this, beyond this point, then the whole thing would be invalidated and we'll have to reassess as we go through the week. We'll see Tuesday, Thursday, as always, getting another, we're going to create another video, going to update another update of the week for what we see in the price section. For now, the bias is clear, still to the downside, still bearish, no sign of reversal, dollar bullish. So fairly obvious here. And that's what we are looking for. So that's the bias for the week. New Zealand dollar, again, looked at it last week, and again, we cleared these lows. The week closed bearish. Just going to continue with it. Well, why not? We are still in a valid high probability sell scenario. Here's the next target once we've cleared this one. The week closed lower. Let's have a look on the daily. Continuing on the sell-off. We've now cleared this part. Here's the level I was looking at. So we've held that level, created a wick through it. Look on the 4 hour. And now this idea has held so far. And now we have this new wick as the invalidation, as the swing point, as you can see. Oops. And now, what do we want to see next? Well, to validate the continuation of the sell, we want to see a break of the structure. Nice clean break, pull back to a better price, and then continuing lower. So now that we've held this level, we're gonna look for a new, possibly, this looks like it will be a possible level. And continuing on the downside. So we're gonna look for the next swing. You can see these lows created. If we break these lows as well, that would be another significant point to break. So we really want to break here, this point and this point below. Going lower, we do have dollar news. Aussie news is sometimes linked to the New Zealand as well because they're closely matched, but correlated, I should say. It's not a certainty. We will watch out for the dollar news as we go along throughout the week. That's the bias, just like with the euro dollar, and looking for that continuation of the drop. Got our invalidation point here, so we'll wait and see how we play out. If you like this video, please do subscribe, click the like button. If you have any comments, if you have your own charts, then feel free to share as well. So if that's all good, let's continue with the next one. The next one is dollar yen on the list. Once again, as you can see, this is sort of a continuation of the previous week. Why not? We're still in a clear bullish momentum. The probabilities are in our favor, and we have cleared one high here, which can remove that. We're now looking at the next highs up here, which are demarcated, and we've got them on the chart. So let's continue with that idea. We've got our low here, and then we've got last week closing bullish, very clear to see, breaking the high, closing above the high, closing the whole week in bullishness. This was the area we're looking for in the middle of the week to close, to basically bounce off, and we had that rejection. We have so that is the confirmation. This was the idea. And now that we've had that created, that swing, we have a new low here. So this now becomes the invalidation point. And now we're going to look to head higher, clearly into the next levels. So what's next? Well, don't want to be chasing price at the moment because we have been heading higher. It'd be nice to see a swing here. Let's just come back a second. Let's do it like this. Right. So here we have a new idea looking for. So there's a bit of a gap in the price here. I'll be looking for a better price and then continue higher. And that it would be the first scenario. This would be the invalidation. Any deeper price, any deeper retracement, creating a new swing to continue higher would be great. If that does not happen, the next idea would be a break higher, clear daily break higher, pull back to a better price, and then continuing on the bullish idea. In that case, we will have possibly this level at the high to move away from as a reference point, as a new swing. So bullishness either way on the dollar yen, and yen is also weak, so that's a good match, pairing the strong with the weak so that we have a high probability scenario. And you can see that on the weekly, yen reaching higher and higher. So that's clear to see. Let's move on to the next one. Next one on the list is CAD yen. So why are we going for CAD yen? Well, again, oil linked to CAD is currently strong, currently bullish. Yen is currently weak. And we have last week closing bullish, as you can see here. Again, similar to the yen, to the dollar yen, the previous chart. We had this range and now cleared the range and headed higher. Now we've got that confirmation, moving higher. Then what do we have? Well, the next points of reference, which is this high up here. Moving down to the daily, you can see this bullish candle created this low. This now becomes a reference point. So we don't want to see the market moving lower than here. If it moves below this reference point, then we're going to scrap this idea. This buy idea. By the way, we also have a little gap here, as you can see, and the market tends to fill gaps. with all of that in place, then this looks like a bullish market. So either let's go down into the 4 hour, take stock of what we've got. So here we've got our point we're interested in, and the idea would be either pull back to a better price and continue, or scenario B would be clear this high, come back, give us a better price, and then continuing higher. So we do have this zone, and once we clear this high over here to look for. So yeah, that's 2 points of reference. If we go lower, even better, as long as we don't break through this low. So that's the CAD idea, bullish for the week. Moving on, Euro Pound, start with the weekly once again. Now we are holding this bullish idea that we had from last week. So this was the question mark, are we gonna hold on to this level, which we did. The week closed bullish. Let's look on the daily. We did have that bullish bias, moved away from our zone where we were interested in. I've headed higher, and this was the next point of reference. And as you can see, we are currently just about holding this level, and now we're gonna, once we cleared this level, the next target will be these levels up here. Let me just mark them out in the usual green, just so it's a bit cleaner. Bit easier to see. Hope you're following along. If not, type your question below. We do have a break of a significant structure in the market up here. So once again, now that we have cleared this high, come back down, and now it looks like we're pushing higher, then the bias would be to the top side. Now we may come down again, we may not, I don't know. If we do, then obviously a better price will be great. This is still the invalidation point because this was the last swing. I do want to see that hold. Of course, if we clear this, then the whole idea is scrapped. Once again, a move lower, any move lower into this kind of area, once again, would be a good price. However, if that doesn't happen, next scenario would be clear, break higher, come back down, and continuing to the top side. So what does that mean? Well, the next level of reference would be here. If we clear it. So those are the two scenarios for the week on Euro Pound, continuing on that bullishness. That would be my preference for the week. So that's the probabilities. That's what the market is showing us at the moment. So let's wait for that. We do have, just as a reminder, the pound news. So we may want to pair the chart up, the setup with the pound news at the time of on or just after the news release. Okay, next, pound New Zealand. Coming back to this one, if you remember this one from last week, this is the level we were looking at. We still haven't quite created any significant action. We do have still bullishness, so we are looking to continue on that bullish momentum. We have cleared this high, as you can see, so do want to see a continuation bullishness. Here is the validation point. And we have our setup looking to continue on it. We don't really have anything that is of any significance, I would say. Just quickly looking on the 4 hour, we did move higher initially. However, we broke back down into this low. So what's next? Well, I drew out this range. So we are still in a little bit of that range right here, and what we do want to see is still the same thing as last week, because, well, it's still valid, it's still, everything is showing us showing us that it is in play. We have the low marked out, we have the high, we are in a cheap area, and we have this kind of possible idea. If we break lower and then move higher, if we have that move higher. Now at the moment we don't have anything, still in this range. So the next idea would be a break of this high. If the market breaks that, so first of all, just to be clear, first of all, if we get a nice reversal of any of this orange area, like so, and a nice push higher, that would be some good confirmation. And the next idea would be a break of this high, and once it breaks, pulls back, pulls back into this area, and then continues higher still. So it'll be a decent risk to reward trade here. And this would be the idea. If you want to wait for the daily, you can wait for the daily to turn around, create another big bullish candle. So far you can see that it did kind of fake out, really tricked a lot of traders here, because many would have been trapped into the buy idea. However, we broke down, still going to stick with the bias until we have this low broken. Here will be the first reference low. If we break that, and then this one, but this will be the ultimate extreme low. Below that, there'll be invalidation. So if we continue lower, as long as we continue lower, then so be it. We're going to leave the market alone. Again, we have pound news this week. Let's see how we get on, whether we have a match. So that's pound New Zealand, still early to tell. We're still heading downwards in this retracement phase. This is the bullish impulsive phase, as you can see, very, very strong. And typically the retracement is a little bit slow, weary, and not very clean. And that is what we're getting at the moment, which is this little range. I should say, well, it's not so little, is it? It's about 250 pips big, but you know what I mean. Okay. So that's the pound New Zealand idea. I'm still going to stick with that for the week. And now let's go into oil. Oil, this was the idea for last week, to get a cheaper price then and head higher. That did not happen. We just went straight up, straight higher, just continued bullish, extremely bullish week. And the next thing to look for is, once again, the same similar idea really, a nice cheap price and then continue to the top side. So last week closed bullish, continuing on the bullishness. We are in an extreme retracement phase. If we draw a fib from this high to this low, here's the halfway mark, here's the 62 level, and we can see that we are really in a retracement phase. It's quite easy to see. So what does that mean? Well, that means if we're an expensive price, we don't want to be chasing price. We want to get a much better price. So the better price would now be in this level down here. On the daily, what are we looking for is this price. This sticks out as the swing. So this would be the invalidation point. A nice cheaper price would be preferable. There's the idea, not to chase. Here's the next level. Go back to the weekly. You can just mark it out here on the weekly. Here's the next level, and here's the one after as the target point. And once again, not going to be chasing price. If the market does move without us, as it did last week, then I'm going to have to wait for something else to happen, some kind of cheaper price afterwards. Just going to reevaluate in the week and see what happens, because at the moment it's not clear, and I really don't want to be buying at an expensive price. Really want to clear this level first very cleanly before considering anything. And that's if it runs away without us, but really want to see a better price. It's not, the probabilities are not quite stacking up, if you see what I mean. Plus, the other point to note is because of the bullishness on the dollar, typically oil prices, price in dollar, would be lower in terms of commodities, but we're not seeing that. We're seeing oil push higher, which now brings in the question mark of whether oil will really go much higher. Again, want to be pairing the strength with the weakness, but if dollar is strong and I'm saying oil is strong, then that doesn't quite match, if you see what I mean. Therefore, we really want to see that cheaper price before considering a high probability scenario. But either way, on the weekly, we have a clear trend, we have a clear bullishness here. So what that means is we don't want to be fighting it. You can also see at the same time that we have a bit of a range developing here. And the market is a little bit slowing down. We are getting higher highs and higher lows. However, it's not the strength of these swings here. It's kind of a slowing down phase. Let's see where we go. We will reassess in the middle of the week, no doubt, and then go from there. Next, let's go to the next one on the list. Finally, last but not least, we're going to look at gold. Now, the reason we're looking at gold this week is because, well, we've got dollar bullish, commodities has a tendency to go lower. The other thing is we have a lower low being formed here. Let's just start with the monthly. Actually, you know what? Much better. We have this range on the monthly, clear bullish momentum. We're stuck in this range, not cleared these highs. We are heading lower. On the weekly, we also have a weekly sell bias. We can see that we have cleared this structure down here, cleared this low, close lower, and now we have a possible swing being formed coming to the downside. Now, if we are coming to the downside, then the next target would be down here. We can also see a gap in the price down here. Just going to mark that out. So these would be the next logical areas to watch for. This is the weekly. Now, this would be the possible weekly swing. However, we don't have that confirmation yet because this bar was an inside bar to the previous week. What does that mean? Well, we want to see more confirmation, so to speak, that we are heading to the downside. What would that be like? Well, it would be like this. So a clear of the previous week, because that's a significant point to watch for. So therefore, I'm just going to write here, close below. So it should be, for reference, daily close below here. And I'm going to go down into the daily. Here's that reference point. This would be the next possible swing. So we're looking at this as a swing, a break of this structure. And then what will be next is something like so. And we will then have a level develop here. We do want to be anticipating the price and then responding to what happens. So that is the break and then heading lower. It seems like we have a swing high here. We will confirm that when we have a break below this low here, heading lower, and then look to the downside. This will be the first target, this clear low, and afterwards we'll see if we clear that low cleanly, then the next low is down here into this gap. As before, markets tends to fill gaps, and we may be doing that, heading lower. As you can see, the trend is to the downside. If you want, you can draw a kind of a trend line here, which we are holding at the moment. Wicked through it, did not close above it. And that is the bias. Again, pairing it with the dollar news that we have this week, we may want to wait for that. It may be that we will range if that is the case, and that's the case. And confirmation of the week, if we wait for next week, will be even easier, because then if we have the candle close below the week, we have another bearish candle, then it's a confirmation of the swing on the weekly, which you can see will be here. And if we close lower, then really next week will just be another confirmation, and it'll be even easier to see. At the moment we're anticipating that swing, so let's see if that actually happens, if that plays to our favor and the price action prints those candles. So that's what I'm anticipating, just looking a little bit into the future of if this happens, then we'll play out with this plan, and if it doesn't, then we won't. On the daily, I'm going to mark out the invalidation point. The invalidation will be this ultimate high at the moment. And that means that we can range in here, but if we break through this wick again, then this whole idea to sell gold will be invalid. At the moment, I really like it as the swing point. You can also draw a fib from the high to the low, and as you can see, we've hit the 62 level. We are in an expensive area. If you want to draw a level, you could see there's a bit of a level here that we moved away from. So it's all looking very positive in terms of high probability sell for gold here. And that's the outlook. I think that finishes all our charts. Yep, there we are, back to dollar for the list of the week. And as you can see, bullishness on the dollar. Okay, so those are the charts for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. Do watch out for the calendar for the week. Come back to the site if you want up-to-date news and to remind yourself of the news for the week, what's going on in the markets. If you want to see what's happening, the updates happen regularly on a daily basis in the markets. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much for joining me. That is your update for the week. My name is Dima, and I will see you on Tuesday once again for the midweek analysis. And as the market develops, we're going to reassess, adjust, and look for the next opportunities. Okay, hope that helps. See you guys next time, and bye for now.